You know how sometimes when you meet people, you just know? Well, coming up next on Survivor Angels, here's Darrell and Krissie Woods, and I Just Knew.
It's time for Survivor Angels, an approach to strengthen trauma survivors. Here, you can escape what draws negativity and engage your positive abilities and the gifts that you've always had. Let's activate your angels. And to help you on that journey, here's Chaplain Jodi.
So here I get to sit with two absolutely wonderful people, Krissie and Darrell, Darrell and Krissie, who I met on our recent trip to Greece, which was phenomenal on so many levels.
Magical.
And Maria, who leads Mysterious Adventures Tours, who we traveled with, she always does pre-tour Zoom calls. So we kind of got introduced that way.
Yeah.
But then the first day that we met in Greece, in Athens, on a beautiful rooftop dining room with the Acropolis in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And we met, and it was like instant. Oh my gosh, I love these people.
We said the same.
Yeah, we said the same thing. Yeah.
And at the same time, angels were saying, you've got to get them on the podcast. So here we are.
We are.
And,
We're here.
And as we were kind of talking, excuse me, before we started this is unscripted. We're kind of, none of us are sure where this is going to go.
Nope,
we just know we're supposed to have this conversation. So everybody else that's out there listening and watching, hang on, because you're going to be as surprised as we are.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So the first question that I want to ask you, because I, over 10, 11 days, got to know you better. And you two have an incredible spiritual connection, but it wasn't always there, which is true for most couples. Mm-hmm. So how did it start? How did it evolve? Whoever wants to go first, whoever's got the beginning, go ahead.
How about you start? Because it started with you. I mean, that's actually pretty honest about it.
I think when we go, because we got to go back pretty far, just because what we talked about before, our religious, the upbringing, our childhood was based, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. And so it was very, very strict. And so a lot of things that had happened to me when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to say certain things, right? Because it wasn't, the religion wasn't about the things you see, the spirits that you see or anything. It was all very negative. And so it was traumatic and it was scary. You just don't talk about it. So moving forward to when we met about 25 years later, 22 years later, we just kind of, I don't know, how do you want to take it from there? Because it's kind of...
All right. So on my side, so I have a kind of a split, so you can see on my side, it was also, I would first kind of split. 12 years of my life, I lived more with my mom, who was psychic, and really got me into the paranormal and all that kind of stuff. But then when I went to live with my dad, he was very religious, and that was all evil and all that. So it was like I was told everything that I was taught was wrong and bad. And so that was, but then after I got older and out of high school, I moved back down here. And that's when, of course, we met Krissie. And I hooked back up, of course, with my mom and my family here in Salem. And that's when I realized that I didn't believe in the hate and everything's a demon thing that the religion was trying to put on me. And so I kind of just shut it down. But I was always open to the paranormal and to the psychic, since my mom was, very much so. I would be going to call her and she would be on the line before it even rang. She knew I was going to call her all the time. So she had a great connection with us kids. But and that's how.
So that's how we kind of came
Yeah.
together. We had a similar background as far as the religion. But when we got together, we married and had children. It was, for me, I needed something more. It felt like something more was calling me, right? Not, again, not a Bible or anything like that. Just there's something more that I needed, that I felt like, or I could give. And so we had talked about it a few times, about the things, I don't know, the spiritual aspect, how do I say it? Going out to, like, going into the forest, doing things like that bring you joy, right? Not just being in a building and doing this and chanting that, but it was more of a just a very personal. That's so hard to explain.
Well, no, I think I know what you're trying to say, because I mean, I'm the most at peace when I'm out in the woods. I'm out in nature, and it's me and nature and the world, and the listening to the sounds and the peace, and I mean that is, I guess you could say, my church. I mean but that's just where I'm out at peace and at one.
And that's what kind of brought us.
And
that's what
I
kind
think
of connected us
that
together.
connection is what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's more of not going to a building and be part of them saying this is how it is, but it's your connection.
Feels right to you.
That feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And your discovery at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And the one thing that we had that I was instilled in me from my dad, that was the one thing. My dad loved to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So we always traveled, and I love to travel. I love to go places and adventure and go out. And I couldn't believe it, but she was the same way. So even with kids, we just always were on the road, always going and doing these adventures. That is where we loved being out and about and discovering new things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right. We're not, for us, it's not being just in one place.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you learn so many new things by going different places. And so that's what, that was a connection right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, traveling is a spiritual experience in itself.
Yeah. No matter where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Darrell, you said you had already been into the paranormal, at this point in time when you two were beginning and moving on. What were your thoughts about the paranormal and the supernatural, knowing that a lot of people call us weirdos?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to put it, because we believe in that stuff.
Yes.
Right. And part of it was maybe a rebellious part of me, because I've been told that was all demons and evil and stuff on that. And it was kind of like, I don't believe that, so I'm going to go into that. And it didn't mind if somebody said I was a weirdo or whatever. I'm like, fine, I am a weirdo. That's fine. But I just felt like that's where my calling, I was called to that. But in the paranormal, when I got into it, I was really, Krissie was kind of afraid of some of that stuff. Like she was afraid of like ghosts or or aliens or any of that kind of stuff.
Again, it was the dogma from
the
childhood
religion. So we were not sharing that very much. And I think that was a separation. And I was also very worried that if I did go on an investigation, if I brought something home, I think that would be the worst thing ever. And I was afraid of with my kids and Krissie, and I wasn't experiencing the investigations the way I probably should have, because I was just so closed. I was just like, nothing come home with me. And I was so worried also about proving that there was paranormal. I wasn't experiencing the paranormal that was right around me. And it was something that I had to learn later.
Mm-hmm. I want to back you up now just a little bit too, because I've heard this from other people where they've had a parent who is very psychic. I know my husband Jeff, who him also, his mom she read coffee grounds. People would come to their house and she would read their coffee grounds in the morning. He got teased about that in school, that his mom was Did you have anything like that, Darrell, too, with the fact that your mom was psychic?
Yeah, but it was sad because it came from like my dad, and yeah, it was bad stuff that I heard about mom, and because of the way she was. But yeah, I mean, I did hear that, but I didn't let. It's just something I didn't tell people at school. I just didn't share
Right.
that. I didn't open up that part of me in school
Okay. Yeah. And of
because I
course,
knew that that's
my,
what would
my
happen.
husband, okay, yeah. In my husband's case, people were coming to the house, and so
Mm,
they knew what his mom could do. So, as far as him keeping it close in, it's like, no, it's small
Out
community
there.
it
too.
was out there. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were able.
Oh,
It did get out there like that. Um,
yeah.
in like the area. Well, it didn't get out there like that so much,
Okay.
but a little bit. But
Okay.
it was mainly people that knew us that I had to deal with.
Okay. All right. So you're into this. You guys are like this with this. How much do your kids know?
Oh,
Or when did they find out? Or is it just part of their upbringing? How does that
it's
look?
their upbringing.
So
They love. They've known about it forever. And they love it.
My mom was very open
Mhm.
with us as kids, and then I saw how shut down the religion was trying to make everything. That I was like, I don't want our kids not to know any of this when they get out, and I want to be there to help teach them and show them and maybe help them through this kind of stuff, since it does exist and there's things out there. So we were very open with them.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Her
And so,
daughter. I'm assuming. I feel like my daughter's an empath. She hasn't
Mhm.
quite delved into her gift yet.
uh-huh.
She's 25, so I think she's getting there. But our son Jaden, he loves to come
On
on
investigations, he's
investigations with
been on
us.
investigations with
Yeah,
us.
he's in tune. So
Mhm.
yeah, so there's no issues with our kids. They love
Yeah.
it. They do, and they know where we go. They know if we're off on the weekend, where we're going, trips we're going to. Yeah, they love it. They do.
So what are your thoughts? Do you think, is it something that's inherited or it's environmental where the kids pick this up? Because I know some kids, I mean, they're 2 years old and they're going, there's grandma.
Right?
I
Yeah.
What do you
think
think?
I do agree with that. I think that some of it maybe um because I don't see myself as being as open to it as like my mom was, of course. I'm not at that. And actually the most open I've been was on our Greece trip. So, and so it's kind of new to me to be that open to that kind of stuff. But I think I think that my mom talked and helped see our kids. She helped babysit them when we were at work. So my mom was there with them. And I know that our kids picked up some of that stuff from my mom.
It could be that it's inherited and also environmental because it was both for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. For in our instance, I think it's both.
Yeah, I think it is both.
So what's been the most challenging part of it?
Challenging.
I think the challenging part was when we weren't able to share it together, where we weren't, because that's how it was for a while, because the kids were young. She was watching the kids, and I was off doing investigations, and there was just a separation there. And so since then, us being able to do it together has been like just a breath of fresh air. It's been you see how we are anyhow, and being able to bring that to an investigation's just been amazing.
Yeah.
And being open with it, it's like I'm learning to investigate all over again, brand new.
It's a different type of investigation, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm no longer, I don't need to prove whatever I'm doing. I'm there for the experiences, seeing what's out there, and it's really the connections we're making with that.
Okay, now this is what word do I want to say? This is a little more not thinking of the word, so I'm just going to say it.
Go ahead.
The spirituality, the paranormal,
Mhm.
everything that goes with it. I don't want to say it falls into a bucket, but how do you reconcile it with your beliefs? I mean, what does that look like? I think I'm saying that a lot tonight. What does that look like?
Do you want to go? I have an idea.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can go ahead.
I don't know. I feel that just as in, I mean, I'll come out and say I've seen a UFO. Me and my brother have seen a UFO. So I couldn't comprehend what we were seeing. I still don't know what it was, and I wouldn't have talked about it, but my brother was there. So we both saw it together. So I think that what I'm trying to get at is just that um, I realize that there's things that I do not understand, that I'm constantly learning and trying to learn about. And so, whereas I think that being open and accepting to things and experiencing it and learning what's right for us spiritually, as I think a path that it's not something I'm at, but I'm constantly learning and evolving.
Yeah,
What
I
about you,
think that's
Krissie?
exactly what it is. It's like no matter what, we're always learning something new.
Yeah.
And I think I said that even in Greece, it's just like it's a constant learn. It's a first school, right? We're here, we're learning, and it's never going to end, and which is fine. But so reconciling the two, for me, I put them kind of both together. I really do. I connect them both, the paranormal and the spiritual side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm there too, pretty
Mhm.
much.
Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. And of course, everybody is different. So that's why I was
Right.
really interested
Mhm.
with you two, where at least at this point in time where you fall, because like you say, we're
Correct.
always learning and growing, and so we're going to shift
Absolutely.
with some of
Mhm.
this.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now you did both Romania and Greece
We
with
Yes.
the
did.
Serious Adventures tours, and you
Yeah.
had
Yes.
the same host, Scranton Rihanna Wilson, and yet
Yes.
you said
Mhm.
you sort of had different experiences. Do you know
We
why?
did.
Was it just the location or was it something
It
else?
was, yeah.
It
So
was.
we talked about it too.
Yeah.
So Romania, beautiful country. The people were amazing. I love them. Romania was more centered around the macabre. So we did a lot of the
Well,
investigations. We saw a lot of
right.
castles
We were following the footsteps of
of
Vlad
Vlad
Tempest,
Tempest,
the
right?
real person of Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
So it was more about following him through his life and where he was raised and
Mhm.
the castles he was out and the things. So that's the history you're learning. So also the people we had on the
Yeah.
trip
Were amazing.
were really amazing people,
Mhm.
but none of them were really as spiritually connected as this last group that we
Right.
had in Greece. We didn't have a medium with us. We
No.
didn't have, the people that were on there that are more connected than even I am or Krissie is spiritually. And you too. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a different experience. So where one was more like the macabre and maybe a little investigation here, this one was really a spiritually journey,
It
spiritual
definitely,
journey.
yeah. We dove into a lot more spiritual
Yeah.
aspects of Greece, which again took us to a whole different
Yeah.
level, I think. Because of course with Catherine and you, it was going to different places and meditating and then talking about that. See, we didn't get that in Romania just
We didn't
because that
try
wasn't
to
what the trip
connect
was
like
about.
that.
Right. And because that wasn't what the
Okay.
trip was about.
Mhm.
But with Greece, it was definitely a more spiritual side of,
Mhm.
of the trip, right? Am I saying
Yeah.
that right?
No, you
Okay.
are.
Yeah. So two completely different trips, both amazing, but this was definitely more spiritual. The Greece trip.
So people who are just starting to open
Mhm.
to paranormal or their spirituality, whatever the case might be, whatever they're awakening to,
Mhm.
and if they want to travel and do some of these things, how would you sort of guide them? What should they look for? What should they avoid?
One thing that helps is the people that you're on the tour with, because if you have a lot of negativity or a lot of you don't blend with the group, it's really hard to open up around people you don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah, because it needs to be definitely be
Yeah.
a safe
Environment.
But you meaning trip wise, like where to go, or what do you mean, Jodi? About
Yeah, maybe not so much where to go, but maybe looking at the itinerary and what's offered. How
Correct.
should they approach that?
So
Yeah.
if you're looking for just the investigation and going that, you definitely want to look, is this just going to be, we're going to go over there, we're going to go investigate, or like we were told about this trip, we were going to go to this place and we're going to do this illusion mystery thing where we're all going to do this ritual that we did, and so right away when you see that, you better be ready for a spiritual something to happen or potentially happen if you're going to go down that road to do an ancient ritual of some sort.
Agreed. I would say anything that if you're looking at the more spiritual aspect, or if you're wanting to open up, if there's any trips with a medium, a psychic medium, I would say that for sure. Especially a good one like Catherine. Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Oh, love that woman. So I would say, any trips with that, I think it will pull you more towards the spiritual aspect of the trip.
Yeah. So I guess it's what you're looking for. You need to know what you're at and what you're willing and open for.
How open are you?
Right. And because there were some things, like you said, with negativity and everything, and that can happen. I mean, if you're going to Disney World.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. The negativity is just out there. How do you sort of, let me say, set up your boundaries so that, because everybody has different things that they do. So do you two sort of have a practice or something that you do?
We're very different in this way. I'm a very
all right,
I'm a very laid back and not much bothers me, first of all, but I try to deal with it. Yeah, I just try to deal with it, but I'm pretty calm. I try to let it, I have a pretty good way of not letting things affect me. That's negative, saying this is sad, this is where they're at, they need help here, but I'm not going to let that affect me or affect what I'm needing to do. So I see it, but I don't let it affect me. The personality with just in my daily life, I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, you do really well. Yeah.
Okay. Krissie?
Well, I know if I see and I feel it, I say it. So I'm okay with telling whoever I need to tell that those are my boundaries and what I feel, and they need to stop. So I have no problem with verbally telling somebody that, that those boundaries are being crossed, or, they just need to calm down. So it's completely different. Darrell can just kind of sit back and, which is his good trait. It's a Libra trait. So he can, just kind of let things slide. But I was like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is good. In some instances, her mind needs to be spoke. And sometimes I should speak and I don't. So that's where I think that we also make each other better in those ways.
Yeah, we balance each other out.
But now, how do you handle it if it's something that you cannot see or feel? Then how do you set your boundaries?
I don't know. That is a good one. Because I don't know if I've come something I cannot see or feel. I usually feel. I don't know that there's anything I haven't feel. I'm always paying attention to my feelings.
Yeah, really well.
Okay.
Usually I pick up on something, and I can even meet somebody very quickly. I can kind of tell.
And feelings.
Yeah, I just get that feeling, and those are things that, like I said, I don't think are anything different than anybody else, but maybe they are. I don't know. I just have always able to feel like either negative or good, or the vibe you get from somebody.
That's your angels.
Yeah,
That's
there
your
is.
angels
See?
telling you.
Yes,
Either look
exactly.
out or you're good to go or
There you
whatever.
go.
Right,
So, and I
right.
know
And
you
that's
guys have
why,
tons of angels around you.
oh, and that's why I think that I'm also so open a lot of times
Yeah.
because I get that good vibe and I just kind of open up saying, okay, I'm willing to accept, I'm willing to adventure, I'm willing to let whatever happen, gonna happen, and I'm gonna be here for the ride, you know.
And we're big on the energy, you give out, you
You
get
get
back.
back.
So, and of course you're gonna have those that are like, oh, kind of button heads. But majority of the time we
Yeah.
get really good energy back from
And
people.
I try to do that. We both try to do that on investigations because I really feel
For
what
sure.
you bring to the table also can affect what comes back.
Mhm.
So in investigations, that's very important that you are not negative or though that. And so it's your intentions mean a lot of what
Absolutely.
happens on an investigation.
What would you say was probably the most enlightening moment for you? And it might be different for each of you in Greece. What was your aha moment? I know there were a lot of them.
There were more
There
than
were a lot of
one.
them. You want to go first?
Uh,
I'll go with that one.
you go.
Which one?
Go. I'll go, but you go first.
Yeah, and it may be the same.
Yeah.
But there were, like you said, there were a few. I would say the cave, the Valley's Cave.
Valley's
I
Cave,
know
yeah.
there's some that had a hard time, and I totally get that. But I think when I went down there, I felt nothing but joy. And so when Catherine, when we set up for the meditation down there, it was wow. It was like, I don't know, I can't even explain it, but just grounding yourself. We had our shoes off, we had our feet or our hands to the ground, and she was putting us through a meditation. But I think through that meditation is where I finally hit that, where I was like, oh, okay, this is, yeah, we're getting somewhere here. So I had a very good experience in that meditation of seeing things and feeling things, and I think that's where it sparked for me. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm where I need to be. So yeah, it was good. It was a good one.
Yeah, and you're kind of right. Mine's kind of a two places, but the cave is where it started, but it finished on Delos. On Delos.
Okay.
So I had, and it was very amazing to me that, and after the cave, and then after Delos, I like some things that I've been hauling around that I knew were in the back, but just kind of trying not to think about. I was able to let all that go, and it definitely changed me at that point. So it was those two parts were definitely the most. I was really able to connect with those two places.
Yeah. I was also the last place we went to when we had to go down. What was that called, Jodi?
Oh yeah, the one where you gave the
what? The tunnel?
The tunnel.
The gates of hell.
Yeah, the gates of hell.
The gates of hell.
That was great.
Hades.
That, I tell you that when we all walked down there, boy, I was super anxious. My heart was beating really fast. I was like, I was walking towards the end of right to the wall area, and boy, my heart was beating. I thought I was gonna like have a panic attack, so I was gonna walk back out. But
gosh.
But yeah, so I kind of calmed down, and then that's when we were asked to get into the circle. You asked us to get into the circle, and then when you spoke, boy, hoo-wee, I was just like crying, and it just felt like it was a release. It felt like everything was released at that point. I was like, oh, ooh, you took the deep breath and you let it go. You teared, you cried it out. And then, okay, all was better at that point. When we were done, I just felt so much better.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
I had a similar. I didn't cry or anything. I didn't have the heart beating, but I just at the end of it, I felt at peace too.
Yeah, your words.
Release. It was very
okay.
Very nice.
And as you know, I sort of prepared that over the course of the night before because the angels fed it to me in pieces. And so before I started, I was incredibly anxious over this because I'm thinking, I'm going into the gates of hell with
Right.
angels.
Right.
You know, but the more they gave to me, the anxiety just disappeared. So even going down those steps, I was like, let's do this.
Okay.
And that was all from the angels. And so to hear that they got all of your anxiety cleared out and everything, I think that was the message that they meant to bring for all of us. And so that's incredible.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely a positive.
It
and
was.
What felt like there was negative
Mhm.
down there, but it ended with very positive, and I didn't feel any of that negative.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once we're walking
We
back
left
up.
it all there.
Yeah.
Any of the negative.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So what's next on your life journey, Darrell and Krissie? How does that look? What do you got planned? What are you thinking?
I know for me personally, I think we had talked about it. Doing a lot more, not a lot more, doing a few trips where it's just me, because I know, and I've talked to a lot of people where it's when it's, and he knows all of them, but I think that what I need is something for just me. So doing a spiritual retreat for myself.
It will be good for her, because we love each other, and we love doing things, and we're always together. We're always doing things. You very rarely see us apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but there, part of that is I want her to go and experience and get the tools she needs or whatever else.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times that means I might not need to be there. So I'm really hoping she does that. So I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Krissie and Darrell, thank you for coming on Survivor Angels. I miss you. Oh
I
my
miss you
God. I
too.
just want to hug you and I can't.
I know.
I know.
We miss you guys.
Yeah, so until the next time that we meet, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to our next adventure together.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, our paths will be crossing again.
You know that.
Thanks again for joining Chaplain Jodi on Survivor Angels. For more information, go to chaplainjodi.me. That's chaplainjodi.me. And on Facebook at Survivor Angels-Chaplain Jodi. Sound effects for the show created by Andre Opate and provided by Pixbay. This is Dave Schrader. Until next time, sending you off to activate your angels.